Chapter 5. Josalyn Williams.
"I'm giving you Williams,"
Wong had said coolly.
"She's good, and you'll need the help. Get a couple of clerks, too. I don't want any technicalities on this one, Granger."
With that, the district attorney had turned around, dismissing him. But not, Granger knew, dismissing the case. She'd be on the phone to Mayor McKinney and Patty Cronin, his interim press secretary. Well, let them work the publicity angles, Granger thought as he left the DA's office. Sterling Granger, Josalyn Williams, and 2 clerks would make an adequate team. It would have to. Josalyn was still out wrapping up the Spangler case. Granger left a message in her box and headed back to his office, momentarily filled with envy. Spangler was neat and easy. The defendant, an unemployed waiter, had killed his wife, a topless dancer, on the busiest intersection in North Beach, at the height of tourist season, in front of 15 delegates to the Forensic Scientists of America's National Convention. 9 of the delegates had been sober, and of those, 3 had actually seen the crime take place. It was almost noon. Granger picked up a sandwich at the cafeteria and took it back to his desk. He turned on his computer and began a database search. He listed Tobin and Barnes as the key words, and wasn't surprised when the computer gave him a preliminary hit list of more than 300 citations. Laboriously, sandwich in hand, he started to refine his search strings. Half an hour later, he had refined the list to 20 major hits. He finished his sandwich just as someone knocked on his door, and Josalyn Williams stuck her head in.
"Say, way to go, girl,"
she demanded. Granger grinned. He didn't know Josalyn very well, but he liked what he did know. "Way to go, girl," he said obligingly. "The Spangler verdict come in?"
"Yeah."
Without invitation, she slid into the visitor's chair and rummaged in her briefcase.
"We got him. But what do you expect? You murder your old lady on Columbus and Broadway, 7:15 on a Saturday night in front of every damn tourist in Northern California? I could have got him for littering too, if I wanted to."
She pulled a sandwich from her briefcase and centered it before her, and gave Granger a wide look.
"Wong says I'm your co-counsel on the Tobin case,"
she said flatly.
"That okay with you?"
Granger stared back at her. A year ago, it might not have been okay with him, but perhaps he'd changed. Or perhaps Josalyn had. Last summer, she'd been cocky and abrasive and ambitious just out of law school, the bar exam successfully behind her, hungry and eager and ready to take on the world. The horrible, unceasing caseload of a DA's office had beaten much of the cockiness out of her without diminishing her energy or her competence, and Granger liked the results. Her ambition might be a problem, but it meant he could saddle her with some of the tasks that he hated, and she loved, like dealing with the press. He also liked the package. Josalyn was petite, with skin the color of cinnamon and chiseled North African features. She wore her hair in sleek cornrows that looked both stylish and professional. Wong had been right. Josalyn would be an asset to his team, and not only because of her race. "Yeah, it's okay with me," he said, and turned the computer monitor around so that she could see it. "I just finished a media search. Here's the results."
"So what do we really have?"
Williams said, half an hour later. The media information hadn't added a lot. Gallery openings, reviews, magazine write-ups, nothing really juicy, no prior convictions on Tobin, Garcia, or either Barnes. The best things they had found were reviews of Tobin's show last February. The snootier art critics had been sniping at Tobin for years, but with this last opening, they let him have it with both barrels. No longer afraid, Granger guessed, of losing their own credibility by attacking an artist of such popularity. Antiseptic agony for the walls of the wealthy, according to Art World magazine, which went on to assure its readers that antiseptic agony was now hopelessly trite. The Examiner's critic called Tobin's recent work, quote-unquote, the triumph of kitsch over content. Even though Granger disliked the man's work, the reviews made him flinch. In addition, the coroner's office had delivered a bag containing the contents of Zachary Barnes' pockets, and the attorneys had gone through it. A wallet with money, cards, and photographs, 2 key rings, one heavy with keys, one with only a Porsche key on it, a laundered monogram handkerchief, and the real prize, a computer disk. It had a mailing list and a bunch of bookkeeping files, but near the end of the listing, Granger found something called Ruby.ltr. They brought it up on the screen, but it held only a salutation and the first 2 enticing lines of a letter. Dear Ruby read, after what happened last night and the unexpected passion between us, I find myself struggling for words and remembering your body. If I were to speak the truth...
So where's the rest of it?
Josalyn demanded. And Granger only shrugged and added that to the list he was compiling of unanswered questions, missing evidence, and the like. He took the disk from the computer and slid it into an envelope. We'll have the computer wizards check the stuff out. Barnes might have a complete version on his hard drive, he said. In the meantime, we've got another problem. He reached into his desk drawer and brought up transcripts of the initial interviews with Ruby Garcia and Yvonne Barnes. I want you to read these first thing. Read Garcia first, then Barnes. There are some questions here. Some stuff Barnes doesn't mention that she should have.
Okay.
Josalyn took the papers.
And then?
I want you to interview Yvonne Barnes. Josalyn Williams looked at him skeptically.
Major witness in the case? Political hot potato? Why me, Granger? That ought to be the lead attorney's job, and as far as I know it, I'm not.
That's right, you're not, Granger said. But Barnes is a major witness, and I want to keep her cooperative. There are enough questions about her interview that I think maybe she's not being entirely open. I don't want to give her any excuse to clam up on us or to hold anything back. He paused, looking at Josalyn calmly. I think she'll talk more easily to you. You're young, you're a woman.
And I'm black,
Josalyn said, making it a challenge. And you're black, Granger agreed. Do you have a problem with that? Josalyn stared at him and then began to laugh. Granger, immensely relieved, laughed with her.
Okay, boss,
She said.
I'll interview the Ice Queen. What else?
The gun, Granger said immediately.
The gun?
Josalyn echoed, balling up her sandwich wrappings. She made a perfect 3-point shot into the garbage can on the far side of his desk. Granger ignored it. The gun was registered to Daryl Barnes.
Daryl? I thought the deceased's name was Zachary.
His cousin, a security guard for Tiffany's. Josalyn pursed her lips and whistled silently.
What was Tobin doing with it?
That's the question. If Tobin's supposed to have planned this murder, then how'd he get his hands on that gun? According to police personnel, Daryl Barnes took an 8-month unpaid leave to do volunteer work in Central Africa, something his church put together. He's been gone for 4 months. Josalyn thought about this.
Would he have given his gun to Tobin? Did he even know Tobin?
I don't know, Granger said. But I guess he did, if Daryl had anything to do with his cousin. Check it out.
Sure thing.
Josalyn made a note.
He must have a house sitter, or maybe he rented his place out until he comes back. I'll see what I can find.
Then there's the matter of motive, Granger said. When Looper pressed him in the hospital, Tobin said Zach tried to kill him to cover up an insurance scam regarding some paintings that were stolen from the gallery back in February.
He's just spinning stories,
Josalyn offered speculatively.
looking for a way to blame it on the other guy.
We checked into it. There was a theft at the gallery, and there was an insurance claim. Josalyn cocked her head.
And?
Tobin said he's got a corroborating witness, some kid named Simon Lee. Looper's trying to track him down, but he's hard to find.
How important is he?
Josalyn asked. Granger frowned. Very. The way I see it is I've got two major problems with Murder 1. First, I need a stronger motive because the ones we have just don't sit right with me. And second, I need to see that gun in Tobin's hands. I need to know how it got there, and why, and when. Unless I have both those, I don't think I'm going to get a jury to buy Murder 1. And if they don't, then James Tobin is going to walk.